Creative Cloud 2014 has a new option for making a selection, and that is through focal range. So go to Bridge, so File, Browse in Bridge, select the giraffe JPEG, and go ahead and duplicate that background layer. Now rename the layer Giraffe. Okay, once your layer is renamed, go ahead and go to Select. We're going to go down and we want to select Focus Area. However, if you'll notice, I don't have any layers selected, so it's not allowing me to do that. I'm going to select my giraffe layer. Now when I go select, it will allow me to select Focus Area. So I have Focus Area selected. And you'll see that the default of 4.0 that I have set up does a pretty good job of picking the giraffe out. However, there's a little bit of area within his ear missing right here under his head. And then I want to go ahead and remove some of this bush area that's popping in. So I'm going to use the Add brush right here. And so that's the Focus Area Add tool. You can hit E for the shortcut. I'm going to make my brush size a little bit smaller and just paint that area in, and you'll see where it adds it. I'm going to paint in his ear in that area right there. There's a little bit on his cheek there that we want to add in both sides. And then down here along the neck, you'll see a little bit of nicks that we want to even out as well. And so if you hit too much of an area, all you have to do is select the Focus Area Subtract tool. E will bring you back and forth between these two tools. And see, I went too much there. So I can add that back in pretty easily. Come over here to this side of his neck. And begin to paint those areas in. And it's okay if you accidentally get some of the background, because we know we'll be able to easily remove that just by using the Remove tool here. Okay. Now I want to also remove all of these bushes, so I'm just going to paint over all of that, make my brush nice and big, paint over all of this bush area here. And you're going to somewhat make your giraffe's neck look like it's floating. So you're going to come up past all that bush area. Go ahead and make it look uniform. Remove. Nice small brush. When you have this done, you're going to click OK. Now you can adjust the focus range by using this slider. If you had wanted it to extend out a little bit more, you would have dragged it to the right. And if you wanted it to not have quite that extensive focal range length, you would drag it to the left. I'm going to output to either selection, layer mask. I can put it in a new layer or a new document. And so you can choose to soften your edge if you like, and you can see what that looks like because it runs it. So check Soften Edge. If you click Refine Edge, then this Refine Edge panel opens, and when that panel opens, it gives you a lot of options for feathering, contrasting, shifting your edge, everything. We're not going to do that on this image. You're going to work on that yourself here in a little bit. So I'm going to cancel out of that, but it saves my selection because selection is what I had chosen. I'm going to select layer mask in the layer panel and turn off my background layer. And now you need to zoom in, and you can see this has some pretty rough little spots around his neck along the sides. Up here around his face, it's looking pretty rough. So you're going to need to mask that in. So grab you a nice small brush and make sure you're painting with white. Go ahead and hit X and come along the edge of your giraffe here. And you're going to have to go along the edge of the entire giraffe and clean that up. And you see how nice and slow and even I'm going over all the edges. What if I were to go, oops, not a big deal. I hit X to bring black to my foreground color, and I just paint out any uh-ohs or mistakes that I make. And so I can also paint around the edge of the giraffe here with that black brush. Here's the white. Coming along the edges, use my hand tool. And you're going to go and you're going to create a nice clean edge. And again, if you go too far, like right here, and maybe you want to be able to see exactly what it is you're doing. And you know, that's fine. You can go around him like this, and then you can come back with your black brush if you feel more comfortable. And you can just paint out using the black tool. And if you go too far in, like I did over there on the one side, then you just switch back and you bring it back in. It does involve quite a bit of back and forth sometimes. Once again, you are going to need to go around the entire giraffe, other than the area that we removed the bushes and the greenery at the bottom. And you're going to have to clean up the selection made by the focal selection panel. Keep going. If you need to zoom in even more, and you can see I've got some areas here that I'm still having to address, then zoom in to whatever magnification you need to get your selection where it needs to be, because quality when doing selections is extremely, extremely, extremely important. If you do a bad job on a selection, it is going to be very apparent. And yes, I'm taking off some of the hair on his ears here, and that'll be okay, because if I leave those little bitty tiny ones, it'll be too easy to see. And I've got my brush too large here, as you could tell. I wasn't able to get in there like I needed to until I made my brush smaller. Once I made my brush smaller, then I was able to get down here and make the selection I needed to. Alright. And I'm not going to make y'all watch me do this entire giraffe, but you're going to need to do the whole thing, go around very close, make sure that you get a nice even edge, and then you're going to go File, Save As, And this is going to be, and you're going to save this as 4G, your last name, underscore giraffe. Make sure it's in your Chapter 4 folder. Click Save. Once again, make sure your mask is meticulous. You're going to have to zoom way in, maybe even at 200 or more %. And again, you can see your magnification in this lower left corner. You can adjust your brush size up in the upper left corner. Black is going to make things disappear. Remember, you hide using black and you show things using white. So get you a nice even edge all the way around your giraffe. Make sure you don't have any of these gaping spots. You have the background layer mask turned off. Again, with it turned on, it's just too hard to see exactly what it is you're doing. So you need to figure out a process that's best for you. Make sure that you've been reading the chapter. Chapter 4 is another long chapter, just like Chapter 3 was. But that's because selections are so extremely important. Okay, and that concludes how to use focal range to make a selection.